Hi, I'm Michelle Fondin, and you should give me your rose.
No, I'm Mathieu Fondin, and you should give me a rose.
This is On a Cloud, a mother and son bachelor podcast, and welcome to episode 8 of our podcast.
Yes, but a stone's throw away from the last episode, if we're being honest, because of our lateness.
Yes, but now we're back on schedule.
We are, yeah, more or less. This episode had its ups and downs.
It was for lovers.
Oh, yeah, okay, hold on. 2/3 of it was for lovers. The last 1/3 of it was for loud, angry haters.
Yeah,
actually.
I think so too. Actually, overall, I liked this episode. I thought it was good.
I'm with you.
I felt that even the drama was pretty mild-mannered. There were only about 5 minutes of the episode where I was just closing my eyes and, like, squinting really hard because I couldn't bear it.
No, I agree. It's like I said before this season, I stand by it, is that this episode's drama arcs are the perfect length for me.
Yeah.
They are 1 to 2 episodes over.
Right.
They're just like, they pass like ships in the night. They're perfect.
Yeah, they're not too long. They're not too drawn out.
They're not too heavy.
They're not too heavy. I even felt like, yes, we had the drama with Chris that did continue from the last episode, but it really didn't go on forever.
No, it didn't boil over for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't really start, well, we start with Chris in the sense that he gets jump cuts every 5 minutes to tell us how cool he is. Oh, wait, we do start with Chris.
We start with Chris.
We start with a boy fight. Oh my god, okay, yeah. So hold on, wait. Becca is like dancing in front of the Virginia signs and giving her little speech about how it's the perfect place to get married.
Yeah, or fall in love or be in love because Virginia is for lovers.
Shut up, alright.
As we mentioned last episode, they are in Richmond, Virginia, which I said last episode that it's not a very sexy town.
No, we used to, as we also said last episode, we used to live in Virginia, and I still do half the time. Yeah, Richmond, it's fine. It's nice. They're always like praising it for being historic. I think that historic towns are usually pretty ugly. I'm disenchanted because we used to also live in France.
Yeah.
Which is all old.
It's all old, and there's a lot more in the way of history, I believe, in France than in Richmond. And even in Virginia, if you go to, like, Jamestown or Williamsburg, I think that you get a lot more history than in Richmond proper.
Yeah.
Richmond's a big city.
I also just do think it's personal taste, where, like, give me buildings that aren't roughly hewn stone lifted by slaves any day of the week. I just don't think they look nice. I don't know.
Yeah. We start off the episode with Chris Harrison, another Chris. So not the Chris we were talking about, but Chris Harrison sitting on the couch with Becca talking about how the show is going so far. And it's really funny to me that Chris Harrison appears maybe a total of 5 minutes on the entire 2-hour show.
Okay.
But he flies all the way out to these places to be on for 5 minutes.
Yeah. He comes on and he says his 2 lines of, "Gentlemen, the final rose tonight. When you're ready." And like, "Gentlemen, say your goodbyes." And then he flies all the way back to Abu Dhabi
So
or wherever the hell he lives.
I really don't understand like what he does all that other time.
I don't know. Well, okay, apparently it's funny because apparently he used to like host the show where he'd constantly pull the batch aside and talk to them and ask them questions. This is all according to Rose Buddies. That said, his involvement has been decreasing, and now like once every season we get this little sit down episode with the batch, and it was nice. I like the fact that he actually pulled her aside and talked to her.
Yeah, he pulled her aside just to see
host.
how things were going, and she definitely admitted that she was falling in love and she was falling for the boys, and she felt like overall her season was going relatively well. So it was really positive. And Chris, she said she was starting to look at like babies and wedding magazines.
Yes.
Things like that. Getting her all set in her mindset, I guess, to get married. Right?
Yeah. Which, okay, I thought that was a cartoon thing, but I have a friend of mine who really wants kids, and she's basically like a velociraptor where she'll like see a baby across the room and she'll tap her fiance and she'll be like, babe, that baby's so cute. And then while he and I are talking, she'll just stare at the baby across the room. It's very funny.
That's really funny.
Baby fever. Yeah, no. So I'm glad Becca's feeling confident though, because like we are down to the wire now where I can actually name most to all of the men, which is a good place to be.
So as we start this episode, there are 9 men left. And, you know, so after this nice couch talk with Chris Harrison...
we get a bad couch talk with the boys.
We get a bad couch talk. So the date card comes, and before the date card comes, we hear Chris saying to the entire group something like, "I hope I get a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-1. Now, mind you, Chris had the first one-on-one.
Yeah.
So the likelihood that he would have another one-on-one so soon is like
really low.
0.
Yeah. No.
There's no way he would have another one-on-one.
Now, granted, okay. Different bachelor/bachelorettes have different tactics, where I've known some of them to try to spread out the one-on-ones to give each of the boys equal time to pick the contestants they're not sure about and to give the ones they are sure about early on. That way they can kind of weed them out. I think Rachel did more of the second kind, which is like keep picking the same boy she likes to go on dates and deepen that relationship.
Yeah. I don't think that's Becca's strategy necessarily.
Nor I.
Yeah, that's not her strategy.
Because the boy she picks for a one-on-one later on, we find out is Leo,
which is kind of weird. But she does have a first one-on-one with Jason.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris is making a big stink about this.
Yeah, and it's really strange because he said, I mean, and this is why I'm anticipating that some of what Chris is saying, I believe some of it's coming from his weird obsession with winning, because he keeps talking about winning and crushing the enemy or crushing the competition, or so. But then he starts talking about a 2-on-1, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, okay, and all the other boys turn to him and they're like, "Why would you want a 2-on-1? 2-on-1 suck." And he's like, "Well, here's the thing," and he doesn't really have a good response. No, but he said like,
"I would win. That's why I want a 2-on-1 because I know I would win." Oh yeah,
no, you're right.
And then Lincoln pops in and he starts telling him like, "Man, you're so dumb. Why are you even saying that?" or something like that. And they just go at it.
They absolutely go. Okay, but this isn't, there are sometimes funny little like verbal exchanges and there are sometimes full-on fights. This is somewhere in the middle where like it's petty enough that you can tell it's not a real fight, but they are visibly mad at each other.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like they're two little girls just like slapping each other. No, they're having a little slap fight.
I almost think it's more two little boys where it's like my Transformer toy flips in the air and slams down on your Transformer toy, but like nothing actually happens.
Yeah, it's
because
really
at one
crazy.
point he's like, "Oh, I'm so much stronger than you. You think you can go with me? If we fought, I'd kill you.
Yeah.
I'd kill you. I'm so much stronger than you are. Oh yeah, you think you can step to me?" It's like
so ridiculous.
The most like testosterone-filled penis measuring contest I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
it was
and
insane.
It really is making the other boys super uncomfortable that Jason gets up and he's like, "Okay, I gotta go get ready for my one-on-one date now." So
the other boys are absolutely horrified by this.
They're
it's
just
not
like
fun at all.
Totally done with what's happening in this
yeah.
fight.
Man, Lincoln's not going to win the competition either, though.
No, Lincoln is a little bit of an instigator, I think. Even from that first episode of the whole photo thing.
He absolutely is.
He's 100% an instigator.
Well, not to mention the fact that the edit he's been getting is not the winner edit, because I haven't seen him speak to Becca since Ari's season. Since the end of friggin' Ari's season, when he came on as the preview guest contestant. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, that's true. He hasn't really had a lot of couch time with her.
No, not at all.
And so, Jason, who's really adorable. So if you forget who Jason is
Dracula.
referred to as Dracula.
He's Grease Boy.
Which is kind of funny because that's going to show up later in their date.
Okay. You're making it sound like they're with us on the same page. They're not. It's a coincidence, but a funny one nonetheless.
It's a funny coincidence. So they're going to tour around Richmond, and that's just the fun day that they have planned. They go on a streetcar. They go to St. John's Church, which is where something happened. Do you remember what happened? It's like a burial ground.
Yeah, it was Hamilton's public execution at the hands of the French.
What?
Yup.
What?
Yeah, John Hamilton executed by
Hamilton?
What's his name?
Is it like Hamilton from the play Hamilton?
Shh, I'm improving. Yeah, John Hamilton is Hamilton from the play Hamilton's brother. Very francophobic. So as exchange for helping the Americans liberate themselves from the English, they did hang him in the church.
Is this BS?
Yeah.
Okay. Some other historic things happened in that church, and we just don't remember.
I don't remember. American history to me is very droll. I don't care.
I know actually more about French history than American history.
Which is sad, because it's mostly like druids kings and stuff until it's kings.
And then it's kings for a long time, and then kings and popes, and then popes taking over everyone's land, and then the kings making pacts with the pope to take over everyone's land.
And like guillotining people by the truckloads. I heard someone did the calculations. I think there were like 6 beheadings a day during the French Revolution's period. It was so many. Anyways.
In the royal families?
Yeah, the nobility were being beheaded.
So after St. John's Church, they go to make sugar donuts. Sure, I don't know why I said sugar donuts.
I forgot about this. It was so nothing to me.
It was really fast. But you see them making, like, humongous donuts.
Oh, really? Sounds fun.
Yeah, for, like, about 30 seconds.
And then they go to Edgar Allan Poe's mother's house.
Is it mother's house?
Yeah, it wasn't even his house, which was okay.
But it's a museum. They converted it into a museum.
Yeah, they did. Well, I mean, I go to University of Virginia, and he actually attended University of Virginia briefly before getting expelled for being a drunk. They set up a little room for him, and they were like, this is his memorial room. It's not where he stayed. He stayed in the dorms like a normal person. He didn't get his own special little... Yeah, because he wasn't famous at the time.
Exactly. And so they go into this museum, and in the back of the museum, there's a garden. And in the garden, there's a bunch of people dressed in black.
Yeah.
And, like, goth-type people.
They're a bunch of, like, weird local goth kids that are like, this is the ritual. Welcome to the ritual. Drink the Kool-Aid.
They call it the unhappy hour instead of happy hour. And then there's a bunch of...
It's the edgiest, most series of unfortunate events BS I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of people dressed like they're from Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, right? More or less, yeah.
It's more like Cirque du Soleil performers.
And they do like the Haunted Mansion employee thing where they stare at you and don't say anything to act creepy.
And they're drinking red punch to make it look like they're drinking blood.
God, good lord.
So what's cool about this is that Jason plays along 100%.
Yes, okay.
Jason is amazing.
In this Shadow the Hedgehog picnic party, somehow Jason is like actually having fun, and there's one lady doing like interpretive dance flexibility practice. And he gets down on the mat beside her and starts joining in, and it's silly, and Becca's with it.
It's really funny. Becca's like totally into it.
Which is like, I know we have this kind of duality where we're making fun of Chris for trying to quote-unquote win the game, but like how you quote-unquote win the game is by playing along, being a good sport, and wooing Becca, and he's playing the game well.
He's doing well on the dates.
Yeah.
And so instead of what some men conceive as being like the tattletale or being like, I'm better than the competition. It's not that. That's not how you win this. You win this by actually impressing Becca in a way that's genuine. And when she picks you for dates, be it group dates or, one-on-one dates, not usually the two-on-one, but that you play along.
Yeah.
That you enjoy the activities that she has chosen for you or chosen for the group or whatever.
Yeah. So, and like, a one-on-one's going well because they usually have the crap activities before they have the dinner, and the dinner is usually when things go well. But he was doing well even before the dinner, I thought.
Yeah, and she seems to really like him. She's very attracted to him.
Yeah.
I think, she's got the sparks flying.
He's a cute guy. He's a cute guy.
He's very cute.
He also looks like a car mechanic from the 1950s, but he is a cute guy.
He's very reserved. And so I believe he's a little reserved, but he's very nice. Yeah. The next thing after the Poe Museum is they go into this pub scene.
Yeah.
And
I loved this.
Becca has chosen 3 of his best friends to be there, and he doesn't know, and he walks in.
Yeah, and Becca says something really cute, which is like, I can't wait to see his face when he finds out what I've done. And it's like,
it's so cute. So I guess he has really good buddies, and he tears up when he sees them.
Yeah. It's really sweet. Yeah. And like, also I just think that, like, honestly, this should almost be the standard, I think, for one-on-ones, because if you want to get to know someone, if you want to actually like marry someone, they do this in hometowns usually, where they'll meet the friends. It's really good to see them in their element and see how they act around other people, because like, definitely. I promise you that from Jordan's friends, if he has any, you would know whether Jordan was someone you wanted to keep or ditch, because I bet his friends are either like professional contacts or other hot models that want to tell you how hot they are.
Right, exactly. So no, this was such a sweet, tender moment.
Oh yeah, also his reaction was adorable. Like, for me, if you brought my 3 best friends into a bar, and I wasn't expecting, I'd lose my mind about it.
You mean you'd be mad?
No, I'd be really happy. I'd be like blissed out.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, he was really happy, and he's tearing up, and he says, it's been 6 weeks since I've seen my friend.
Yeah.
You've got to remember that they've been cloistered nuns in this house.
Yeah, man, drinking with strangers and like
and like bunking with men you don't want to be around necessarily. actually.
Yeah,
so.
who are all competing.
So after that, they go to the dinner portion, which is the not dinner portion, but then they have this sweet, tender moment where he plays the game even better. Do you want to tell about, he tells the story.
Yeah. No, okay. This either goes well or goes poorly. I
Yeah.
felt like on Chrissy's date it went poorly because he tried to like open himself up and tell a story about his dad, and it got across, but at the same, I don't want to like say that these personal tragedies are tokens or anything like that, but you can tell when people are being legitimate and when they're holding back,
Right.
or they're like, not being emotionally open with the Bachelorette.
Right, not being emotionally
in this case though, I totally felt it, where like I'm not often wrapped towards the TV. I'm usually doing something else because I'm bored or whatever. I was watching this whole moment because he was telling a story about how like his grandmother had Alzheimer's and his dad, who he always admired, was putting on a strong face for her, but at the same time showing emotion in private, and he was saying how like he admired that and he would want to kind of not take any moment for granted because of how hard his grandmother having Alzheimer's hit his dad.
Yeah.
It was very, very charming and nice, and based off that date alone, I would not have said Jason was a contender beforehand.
Right.
Based on that date alone, I don't know if he's going to Fantasy Suites, but I think he might be going to Fantasy Suites.
I think he might be going to Fantasy Suites, definitely. Yeah, but she's very smitten with Jason, which is funny because we've seen her smitten with Garrett. We've seen her smitten with Blake.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit Will's, but I'm thinking I didn't think Jason was going to get there.
I know.
But he got there.
I'm totally with you. I didn't think. Well, okay. He also hasn't gotten a one-on-one until now, right?
Right.
And if you can stand out from the group dates, which he did alone, that's pretty impressive.
Definitely. So she gave him the rose, and he was super happy. She was super happy. It was a great date overall. I think they just left really happy.
It was very good.
They went to a concert after? No, that was later.
They usually go to a concert.
Yeah, they usually go to a concert
bozo,
or something.
But yeah, I think she goes one with Leo later on.
Yeah. So then the group date card comes, and everyone else in the house except for Leo is going on the group date. And this group date is called the Beck-election?
No, it was the Bacathlon.
Oh, the Bacathlon. So it's,
which is quite funny.
You can imagine. So Richmond, we're close to DC. They make it a political debate, and there wasn't much else to the date.
Well, okay, there were a little tidbits. So basically, they have really, really, really old men dressed up as the presidents come up, and they're like...
Well, like dead presidents.
Yeah, so no, past presidents. This is not like Obama impersonator. This is like
President Lincoln.
And a really bad George Washington. It was George Washington, but
it did not resemble George Washington per pictures of George Washington.
Yeah, not at all. Not even a little bit. But anyways.
The President Lincoln lookalike
was good. He was great.
He was good. He looked a lot like the pictures of President Lincoln.
Yeah, and like also they were very obviously like hired and did not look thrilled about needing to talk about the Bachelorette. So like
they even had the governor of Virginia ask a question to the men. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But yeah, so watching old men dressed as presidents try to get it up for this bad reality TV show was quite funny to me. And they make little jokes about like, oh, Lincoln's like Lincoln, and Chris is like, Lincoln's an idiot, because they were still mad at each other. So they go out in front of the city hall, I think. Is it like...
Right,
it's
something
not
like
somewhere
that.
in DC.
Yeah, it's like City Hall.
And the Virginia governor actually starts like asking questions to them like a panel. Chris Harrison does this thing where like he guest spots in all of these dates but doesn't do anything. He'll just sit at a panel.
He'll say like one question in the panel.
He'll sit next to like whatever dumb guest star they have, and here he sat next to Abraham Lincoln and was just like watching pretty much.
Yeah.
So the governor of Virginia starts asking the boys questions, and like most of them are pretty standard fare, right?
But it's mostly like questions about dating and marriage and like what you would do on a first date or what you would do on a great date, or I don't know. They were
like, what's your normal Sunday? And
they were all like dating
things like that.
type questions.
Which, is fine. I think it's fun. I do like little games like that because it challenges the boys on thinking on their feet and it shows how different they are. But
then it got a little ugly.
Of course, the villain is on the date, so the villain has to vil.
And then the villain's backup. I don't know what is it? He's not even a white knight at this point. Lincoln.
Who, Lincoln? No, okay, but he attacks Lincoln, not physically.
He does attack Lincoln verbally, but then Lincoln is also, since he's an instigator, I think that...
So here's what happens, basically, is that Chris Harrison for President 2020, by the way, because he was also, like, very measured in his questions. He was like, right. Does anyone else feel this way? So Chris was basically like, do you feel that all of the boys are being honest about who they are?
Oh, that's right.
And then Chris bolts to his feet, and he's like, no. Lincoln.
And we're not talking about Chris Harrison, we're talking about Chris the contestant at this point.
Yes, Chris the contestant said, no, Lincoln called me fat, and I was 300 pounds when I was a kid.
Yeah, what? I was like, what? Where did that come from? Because, like, Lincoln, I don't remember him saying that. Did he say he was fat?
I also was not listening at the beginning because I didn't care. But
and then I was like, Chris was 300 pounds when he was a kid?
If he did say that, I don't know why he would say that.
Right. He said something like he had a big butt.
Maybe.
Right? He said something, yeah. No, I'm saying as he was telling it back, he said he had a big butt.
Oh, maybe. Something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's, okay, like, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what was said. This is very nothing.
It's really dumb. And like what Becca was saying, that it's grade schoolers having a fight on the playground.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
But while he's saying this, Becca was having fun up until now. She is glaring at the podium.
Gosh.
She is
especially,
furious.
This is in front of the
governor of freaking Virginia and a whole panel of everyone, like, just regular Virginia citizens, because that's what they usually do. So everyone's just uncomfortably listening as Chris is like...
And he was swearing.
He was swearing, yeah. They bleeped him out.
I don't even know what he was saying.
And he was talking about, like, oh, he's dumb and he's a liar and he should get off the show and he should get on a plane right now.
Oh my gosh, it just lacks class. Like, I don't care if it's a TV show. The thing is, okay, he could have held back until the cocktail party.
Absolutely.
I mean, the thing is, it was so disrespectful. I was just thinking, like, the governor of Virginia.
Yeah.
That's so incredibly disrespectful.
Because this was in the promo, and when I thought this was in the promo, I thought it was going to be, like, a kind of fun, jokey joke political thing where it was going to be like, oh, this guy's a liar and he's no good, where they were going to kind of bash each other as a joke. Right,
kind of like what people in a political campaign...
and a debate do.
Yeah, they do that.
Not the case at all. Very real, very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So they talk about this afterwards when everyone's talking to the side. When Lincoln goes to Becca, he says that he feels physically threatened by Chris.
Yeah. This is in the after party.
Chris did say at the beginning of the episode that he would beat Lincoln up in a fight if they fought.
Yeah, and he said, and I would win.
Yeah, which was... I don't think it was meant seriously, probably, but regardless of the fact, those words did come out of his mouth.
Right. And I feel that... Now, I do feel a little bit that... Lincoln's either embellishing or he was told by the producers to embellish and be the tattletale.
To draw sparks, probably.
Yeah, to draw sparks.
Probably.
I don't know if he was lying outright. I think he was stretching the truth and exaggerating. But that being said, Chris was mouthing off like crazy. So he was not at all innocent.
And like, okay, plus like, here's the thing, because then afterwards Chris gets his time with Becca. These are the contestants that go on that are the most inscrutable to me. Where like, okay, usually the villain tactic is be mean to the other kids, be nice to the batch. Really
nice to the batch, yeah.
He was mean to friggin' Becca.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, at that point, why even keep him on?
I know, he was like, I feel like you're attacking me. Why are you attacking me?
He was like, this makes me very uncomfortable. She's like, this makes me uncomfortable. He's like, I'm made very uncomfortable by being called violent. And then she's like, well, imagine the position I'm in.
Yeah, she's like, that's what I heard. I can only go by what I hear. I don't live in the house.
And it's like, this isn't a contest for who's least comfortable, because if so, Mom and I win, because this was the least comfortable scene on the season.
It's so uncomfortable. But I just think, like, at that point, like, is the guy clueless?
Who? Which one?
Chris. Like, is he just clueless on, like, proper etiquette?
I
just don't get it.
Again, we mentioned this last episode, but like, he was acting like a normal person until this point.
Well, last episode he wasn't.
Until his villain switch, I mean.
Right.
Like, there were no hints of him being particularly aggressive or mouthing off or talking about winning all the time.
And so, again, we're not sure if it's producers, but see, the way he was acting, what was coming out of his mouth and, like, his attitude and
doesn't seem like how a normal person talks.
Anger does not sound like a producer pushed him to do this.
It doesn't?
To be that volatile?
Maybe not. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it seemed too genuinely messed up. That's what I'm saying. It seemed too genuinely messed up.
You think so? It's possible. Mm-hmm. It's possible. I think this show should be renamed to Poltergeist because I believe there's an evil spirit that haunts the set of The Bachelorette, and it passes from boy to boy as the villain gets eliminated.
It's very strange,
finds a new host.
But I think, and I think some people are really genuinely aggressive and they do have anger issues. Like, some people do. They just have anger issues.
You're totally right.
And I think that as time unfolds, that everyone has their social front. Yeah. That they have their social face, right? They have their social personality that comes out first. And then the more you're uncovered, that's when your actual self comes through. And I think for some of these people, as they get more comfortable in their environment, then their unmasked self starts to show through. And I think that's what happened with Chris.
It's possible. I think you're simplifying it. I think it's also just that reality TV tends to bring out the worst sides of people in general.
Probably.
Because they want to act showy, they want to show off in front of the camera, and also, like, tensions and emotions are high, and probably bad behavior is encouraged, I'm sure, with screen time.
Well, and I think too that, like, on the flip side, people that are decent people and genuinely decent people, they don't break on the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You're right.
People like Jason, or people like even Peter in Rachel's season, like, you don't see him losing it.
No,
to the very end.
Definitely not. And like, people also, like, I feel like Kenny, who was being instigated, he got mad on camera. He never did anything heinous on camera or was, like, openly violent on camera.
Exactly.
Which, like, it shows your character, I think, a little bit.
And so, like, I believe that the one scene that we'll see at the end of the episode, the one scene that continues on with Chris, I believe that last scene was producer instigated.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Of course it was. Of course it was.
100,000%.
Because, okay, here's what happened. So basically, then Garrett goes inside and tries to get his time. And Becca is visibly upset by Chris basically barging in and screaming at her for slandering other boys or whatever.
Right.
And then she says, I need some time alone. And Garrett says, okay, I'll give you a few minutes.
Yeah.
Which, like, is great because, when someone needs time, you don't say, I haven't gotten my time yet.
Right, exactly. You've got to think of them first.
I understand. So Garrett comes down and he scolds
Chris.
I feel like Garrett's such the dad of the show. I know Chris Harrison's the real dad of the show. But I feel like because Garrett is really, really good at being kind of the papa bear of the situation.
That's true. I think so,
and he comes down and he's like, hey, you're ruining this for yourself, for me, and for everyone else on the set when you go up there and you get in Becca's head. And Chris doesn't retaliate. He actually stops to think about that a little bit, which I thought was...
Well, he kind of said, like, I didn't really do anything. And he goes, like, you didn't? He said, well, why is she in this state then? Yeah. So, Becca, she needs a few minutes. She gets, kind of upset. She does come downstairs and she takes Garrett. I was thinking she was going to end the party.
Yeah, me too.
And she didn't end the party. I thought she was going
to throw away the rose and end the party.
I thought she was going to end the party, but she didn't. She took Garrett. And she starts explaining to Garrett, and she even says to Garrett, you know what, I just need to vent. Can you let me vent, please?
Yeah.
And it was really sweet because she felt safe venting around Garrett.
It's nice. Yeah. It really is nice, yeah. And then she sees Wills, and she sees Colton, and the rest of the boys do help her feel better.
Definitely.
But it is a little funny because when she picks up the rose, Garrett's like... There's one guy that really helped her out tonight, and I feel like that was me.
And I thought so, too.
And then, you thought so, too. And then I thought, since we also got a cut of Will's, I thought it was going to be Will's. And then she's like, Colton! And it's like...
I was so surprised.
Okay.
Did we see any screen time with Colton?
I don't think so.
We didn't really see anything. I think we maybe saw a kiss, but we didn't see any of the screen time.
Maybe. Anyways, so after this...
We go to our one-on-one date.
No, not at all. We go to Bachelor Mansion, and Chris says, I'm not done yet.
But that was at the end of the episode.
Was it?
That was during the,
Oh, yes, it was right before the rose ceremony.
It was right before the rose ceremony.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Mea culpa. The climax of the episode has not been reached yet.
So, of course, since Leo's the only one left in the house... Along with the person who got the first date, Jason.
God, okay. See, I got confused because I actually didn't take any friggin' notes on Leo's date because it was very nothing to me.
It was kind of boring. So, Leo, he is the one... It's so funny because the astrological sign Leo actually means lion. And Leo has a big mane like a lion. It's true. Am I lying?
Are you lying? Okay.
Okay, Leo has very big
Hi, Mom.
curly
Hi.
hair.
You're crazy.
Look,
Yep.
I think there's something there.
Now listen. The villain Jordan, he was born under the sign of Scorpio, and I feel like his words sting a little.
I think so.
Shut up! Oh my god, I was joking. I was mocking you. Anyways.
Leo has very big hair.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, okay.
He does.
That's, okay, if
he
you
has
want...
a mane.
Oh my god, if you want a mnemonic for him, yes, that's a good one. But
Thank you. At least give me that. Leo also has big bushy eyebrows.
Oh my gosh, his eyebrows
His
are
eyebrows could
stupendous.
probably talk. His eyebrows could be little Muppets.
They could be a little, exactly, yeah. He's got huge, thick
They
bird
could be like
eyebrows.
Muppets on the Muppet Show.
They look like little caterpillars you find on your driveway. It's extremely good.
And he also has a lot of scruff. You know, the scruffy beard.
He does. Okay, here's
Cute. He's a cute guy.
He's a cute guy. Okay, here's the thing. When I saw Leo, if you asked me who I'd want to date, or at least even hang out with at the beginning of the show, my pick would be, hey, Leo looks friggin' interesting. He's a stunt man. He's got long, cool hair.
Yeah.
I bet he hangs out at, like, juice bars or what, Jamba Juice.
Jamba Juice.
I bet he hangs out at Jamba Juice all the time. He's not that interesting.
No, he's really boring. Like, super dry boring.
Not very, like, funny. He doesn't stand out.
He's very quiet.
Very quiet, like, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. I'm not knocking that, but like, for someone with such a vivacious appearance, it surprised me that he was so soft-spoken.
Do you know what's crazy? Okay, so Becca's going to this one-on-one date after the night group date with the whole Chris drama.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because last episode we saw this too, where she had the one-on-one with Wills.
And she had to be cheered up. Yes.
After the crazy
No,
group
that's
date.
what I said. Is that, like, I always feel like Becca, the arcs are so short that Becca always needs to kind of be cheered up after the villain does their villain thing.
Yeah, so basically after this group date, she came into the same mood with Leo.
Yeah. No, it's very unusual. Okay, that's the thing, though. When she came into that mood with Wills pulled, like, the all-time best friend cuddle maneuver, and, like,
amazing.
really was, like, so comforting and warm. And Leo was just like, sorry, that really sucks.
Yeah, and it was weird because you could even see, like, if you look at the body language in the planes, Leo, the first thing they did was they go into an airplane and see Virginia.
And they both look so uncomfortable.
They both look so uncomfortable.
And then when they land, they get under a blanket, and they're kind of, like, forced to comfort each other.
What's weird is that, okay, so I'm talking about body language in the plane. So they're looking uncomfortable. Becca's just kind of staring out the window, every once in a while just pointing out, like, oh, look at that, isn't that nice? But at one point, the camera pans to Leo, and you can see Leo, like, closing and squinting his eyes, kind of like, oh, this is painful. Like,
yeah.
You see that, and I'm like, I'm sure not many people saw it if you weren't looking for that.
I didn't see that, but that does
I
track,
saw that,
probably.
and I'm like, wow, I can't believe they filmed that. Like, I can't believe they filmed that.
Me.
And you can tell he was so uncomfortable. He knew something was off.
Yeah. Okay, but, like, when something's off, you
address it.
You don't just address it. You need to address it, or like the date will be ruined. Now, okay, granted, Becca salvages it because she brings it up first, but like, it's also just not a good look to be like, I'm not gonna ask you what's wrong.
Right.
Like when you want a partner and when they sense something's wrong with you, you usually want them to bring it up and talk it over.
So after the plane, she does bring it up.
Yeah, she does. Like I said, they get under a blanket and they're kind of like, she's like, so
let me tell you what's been going on.
Yeah.
And she does. She tells him what's been going on. Then afterwards they get into a boat and they're shucking oysters?
Yep. They get out
really
in
sure
big,
what
heavy
shucking
boots.
means. What is shucking? I thought shucking meant open.
Yeah.
But at first they're just catching oysters.
Yeah, but then they open it and they scoop out the yummy goo inside and they slurp up the...
I can't wrap my mind around that.
You shuck corn, you just pull off the outer ear.
Yeah, I understand, but that's like peel.
Yeah, but I guess you peel the oysters too. Because you can't eat the outside.
So they peel the oysters, then they eat an oyster?
Oh my god, and then
they kiss?
They kiss, and oyster kisses sound very unpleasant to me. I almost like wanted to turn up the volume to hear the audible layer of sea slime on their tongues as they.
That's so nasty.
It's very gross.
Okay, so usually with oysters, I've seen Eric, who's my boyfriend, who he puts like lemon juice and like Tabasco sauce on it, and so like you have some flavor with it, right? You're eating it with flavor.
Well, apparently they're just kind of bland. I've never had an oyster. Have you?
No, I don't think I ever would.
No. I had a snail.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting.
But they were boiled, so they were kind of hard. It wasn't that bad. And they're very garlicky. They're covered in
Did you
garlic.
say that like they kind of have a consistency of gummy bears?
Xavier said that.
Oh.
My little brother said that. I'm not that gross in my descriptions, I don't think. Oh my god, Leo's date was so nothing. I can't even remember what they talked about at dinner, do you?
Did they have dinner?
They didn't have dinner?
They did have dinner, but I don't remember
God,
it.
okay. This is kind of our fault for not really like paying attention,
It was
at the same time,
non-eventful.
Yeah, it kind of does show something about the episode where like if they had such a little spark that neither of us were really able to remember something we watched last night, I don't think Leo's gonna go far.
Yeah, I think, I remember them kissing at dinner, but I do remember Becca being very tentative with the kiss.
Like, yeah, with the other boy, she's starting to say, like, I'm falling in love with blank. I don't think she said I'm falling in love with Leo at all.
And they did go to a concert afterwards. I guess there was Morgan Evans, who I don't know who he is.
We don't know who any of these people are.
We don't know who any of these singers are. And they just
it's all like,
yay!
It's all like my favorite singer, Country Boy, and then Country Boy's like, body like a back road, driving with my eyes closed. That's a song that Beverly loves.
Oh, really?
I think it's a really, really horny Southern song. It's horrible.
Wow. Okay. Does it talk about like marrying your cousin?
No.
I think a lot of country western songs talk about marrying your cousin.
No, they don't. What are you talking?
Cousins in the back of the truck.
What are you talking about?
Okay, you clearly haven't listened to enough country music.
I listened to Shania Twain as a child.
Okay, that's like pop country.
Shania Twain never talks about kissing her relations. Yeah, pop. What other kind of country is there besides pop country?
Country?
Like down low country?
Yeah, like bluegrass country and country.
Oh, I forgot. Oh my god. Okay, no, you're right. I forgot about Miley Cyrus's hit single, I Married My Dad and I Love Him Very Much.
Is that an actual what?
Stop believing me when I'm doing jokes. You're gonna ruin the jokes. Anyways, so regardless, it's always some loser is our point. So, okay, then they go home because I don't think anything else happens on Leo's
Not
date.
really. It's like I said, it was kind of like, oh.
And now it's Metal Gear Chris Revengeance time to storm out of the mansion.
It's just, okay, so Becca just finished this date with Leo. She had a good time. It was clear. She gave Leo a rose. She had a good time. She's coming off this one-on-one date. And then we get this cut to Chris, who's, like, snapping on a watch and, like, gelling his hair and putting on foundation and then, like, spraying on some men's cologne.
And then, like, streaking eyeshadow under his eyes like he's Megamind going out on the hunt. And then
he's putting on these, like, tan leather boots?
And then we get this like cut of him in shadow where it looks like he's an axe murderer.
I'm ready. Like, I'm not gonna sit down through this.
Time to kill.
It was really like, it was almost like he was a serial killer ready to go out and like, no, that's the way they made it.
You're right. No, that's the edit. That's the edit he got.
That's the edit.
Now listen, the most valuable currency on this show is time with the Bachelor Bachelorette. The fact that he was able to storm out of Bachelor Mansion and go to Becca's hotel and, like, get inside and be like...
First of all, the boys aren't even supposed to know where she's staying.
They're not.
It's supposed to be very discreet, so she has her alone time. They're not supposed to know.
And so no boy has an advantage, and so they don't get anything unfilmed.
Right.
So the fact that he goes over...
Clearly.
Producer intervention.
Yeah.
There's no way he texted Becca and was like, hey, you up? Can I come over?
I know.
This is like, we're going to force you two to sit down on a couch and have a miserable time together.
It was awful. So oh my gosh.
On the way over, he says something that it exploded my brain and my brain leaked out of my ears.
What did he say?
He said, Lincoln's a bad person. He eats like 12 eggs a day. His cholesterol must be 1,200.
What is 1,200? Okay. I think you would be dead.
Also, hold on. That's a crazy follow-up statement. Are you saying Lincoln is a bad man because he eats a lot of eggs? What?
Is that even a thing?
Also, Lincoln hasn't even been getting the egg edit. David was the one that got
Right.
the egg edit because he dressed up in the funny chicken costume.
Exactly.
I
That's not a reason why Lincoln should be off the show because he eats 12 eggs a day.
Or a reason he's an ethically bad person like Chris is claiming. Yes, hey Chris, yeah, that's a lot of eggs. He shouldn't go to jail for it. What are you talking about? Listen, in the Bible, if you eat eggs, you go to hell. Straight to hell. Too many eggs.
Too many eggs.
Too many eggs. Too many eggs. All right, so he confronts Becca. He's so mean to Becca.
Yeah.
Like, if I were Becca, the minute he, like, opened his mouth and was like, you're being, I'd be like, out, off the show.
Yeah.
Out.
I wouldn't even give him time.
No.
I don't understand how she gives him. Well, she does.
Okay, granted, I don't want to blame Becca, because if this is a producer cut, this is a producer cut. He is being, like, borderline verbally abusive to her in the sense, whenever
he basically just says, like, I really like you. I like you a lot. I want to take our relationship to the next level. I feel like we need to take our relationship
but you're not
to the next
taking me
level.
seriously.
And it's crazy because it's almost like someone pursuing you and saying, I like you. You need to go out with me because I like you.
Yeah.
And so is
and
that
he's
gonna make
he's
you
also
want
like,
to go out with a person?
I love you and I want to get married with you. And she's like, last episode you were talking about walking off the show.
Right.
And then what he said to her was, I need you to not think about that anymore. And it's like,
what?
she responds well to it, but to me that was like the crappiest thing he said, because A, you don't tell her what to do.
Or to feel.
Don't tell her, like, not to think about that anymore, because A, it probably affected her because you did threaten that several times. B, it happened one Gregorian week ago.
Right.
And C, like, it's very obviously important to her decision towards your character if you're leaving one second, then the next second saying, I'm ready to get engaged to you.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Okay, now that said, we're talking a lot of smack about Chris. This is the first season of this podcast. He's not that bad as far as villains go still.
Right.
I feel like
there have been worse villains.
Like, I think Lee, all-time worst villain, because he goaded other, like, there were a lot of racial tensions with Lee, and he goaded other boys into, like, getting in trouble and looking bad, and was very smug and
the
crappy
thing about Lee is that he always charmed Rachel.
Yeah, in a really gross way
Yeah.
that felt, like, manipulative to the nth degree.
Right.
And, like, even, like, Crystal and Bibiana's drama, I couldn't watch. I had to turn away from the TV because it sucked to watch. This, I could watch. And it was bad, but I could watch it.
I'm glad that Becca didn't take it. Like,
yeah,
I'm
no,
glad
she
that
didn't.
She just said,
Yeah.
you know, this is not, I do not see us arriving at where we need to arrive at the end of this.
Yeah, well, basically, what
And she had to do it twice because he wouldn't.
Oh yeah,
let
he
go.
was not having it, and not to, like, okay, it's funny because her argument was like, I see where I am with the other boys, and I don't see you and I getting there fast enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what you're saying now? Because I would be saying, you're treating me like a sack of crap. You're treating the other boys like a sack of crap.
Right.
Get off my show.
Right. That's what I would say too.
Maybe she was just trying to be sensitive. Mom and I are maybe less
yeah,
sensitive.
I mean, I don't know. Like, the thing is, when we've got to remember that we have the on a cloud view.
Yeah, this is just the edit we're
She
getting.
only has one-sided view.
Yes.
She's not hearing what's going on in the house. She's not hearing what's going on with other boys. She's not hearing Chris when he's with the other people. So she's only seeing part of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the fact that he would try to grab time with her and diss the other boys by taking that extra time that wasn't given to him.
Well, okay,
and just,
not
like,
only that, but
remember
he
Crystal did the same thing. In
Yeah,
Ari's
okay.
season, Crystal did the exact
She
same
did it during
thing.
the cocktail party.
Like, twice.
Yes, which was a lot, even though she'd already gotten a date.
Right. And also
But,
during
okay.
the rose ceremonies.
Did she pull him aside?
Yes!
Oh my god, she pulled him aside during a rose
rose
ceremony, which is
ceremony.
unheard of.
She'd be like,
I forgot about that.
Ari, could I just talk to you for a minute before the, you know?
And he was like, yes, Crystal, anything you say, Crystal. Although I feel like she was also producer pick.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Ari also had a hard time saying no. Anyways, here's where I'm at. Chris does leave the show.
Yes. She asks him to leave.
She says, leave.
And then this is where you see that Chris really has an attitude problem.
Okay, I'm with you on this, because that, I think, this was the most real Chris moment for me.
Right, where she's like, let me walk you out. And he goes, no, I don't need you to walk me out.
And then she's like, I'm going to walk you out. And he says, no. And then she says, I'm going to give you at least that much respect. And then he gets up.
They get to the door, and then, because he like storms ahead of her. They get to the door, and he's like, I think we can leave it here.
All right, dude.
So that's where you see his true colors coming out.
Maybe that I want to agree with you probably a little bit. I think it's like you can play act to a degree, but I don't think I've seen a lot of people leave the set sad and like
crying.
hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anyone leave the
angry.
Show mad, like mad as he was, which was very interesting to me.
And so she, Becca says after that, like, I can see he clearly has anger issues, and there's no way I would ever want that in my life.
Yeah. Yep. Which, hey, smart.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Becca as the Batch so far?
I think she's good. I think she is a mix between Ari and Rachel as far as...
the only 2 seasons we've seen.
Right, but I'm just going by... Ari, okay, here's why I'm saying this. Because Ari was like, oh, I love you, to like almost every single woman.
A little bit, yeah.
And Rachel was like into a few of the men. Yeah. But like the ones she wasn't into, she'd be like, you're out.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I feel like Becca is
she has
balance
that assertiveness
between
but she's also...
the two. I feel like she's not saying I love you to everyone or being all smoochy with everyone. A fair amount, but also she's not like cutthroat, I want you off my show. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a happy medium that's happening there.
I do agree.
What do you think?
Well, yeah, and not to mention the fact that I also think that Becca is very much a normal person. Yeah. Which you do get a lot where the contestants are the wacky people. Right. And like Rachel is the only example where like she was the best character on the show and everyone else was kind of just bland. Right. So I do feel like Becca is, she fulfills her role well. I think she has a very strong arm. I like her a lot. The show loves watching her cry. Yeah. Which I'm not trying to... She
didn't cry much this season. This
episode, no. I'm not trying to impugn Becca at all. I'm trying to impugn the show for like giving so much uncut footage of her crying. It's so uncomfortable. But she didn't cry at all this season. She didn't
cry this episode.
I think it's crying's great. Crying's good. Cry all you want. I'm not trying to slam her for that again. It's just the show's trying to make it a thing after the lack of edit thing. We kind of got this with Chris too, where there were like no cuts away at any point.
We did get I think it's gross. We did get Abraham Lincoln and George Washington lookalikes talking about Ari.
In the blooper, they were like, I'm so glad you emancipated yourself from Ari. And George Lincoln, not George Lincoln. Oh my gosh.
I like that.
Abraham Lincoln was basically like, in his eyes, I could see himself like tying a noose to the top of his apartment and like.
Really? Is that what he said?
No. But it's just it was a very like sadly delivered dry line. Yeah. It was like, is it harder to be the Bachelorette or the president? And they're like, oh, definitely the Bachelorette.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It was very sad.
Yeah. So in the rose ceremony, we get 2 boys cut because we have 8 left over, and there needs to be 6.
Yes.
So we see Connor getting cut.
Connor and... Does Lincoln get cut?
Lincoln gets cut.
Does he?
Yeah. These are the boys left over. So...
There aren't only 3.
No, there's 6.
There's 6.
We have Leo.
Oh, Lincoln gets cut. Okay, because I knew Lincoln was going to get cut.
So we have Leo, Colton, Jason, Garrett, Blake, and Wills.
Yeah, okay.
They're left over.
Okay, never mind.
But we don't get a cocktail party.
No.
Because Becca knew what
she wanted. Knew what she wanted. Which, hey, I know what I wanted too. Bye, Lincoln.
This is the second time we've actually seen that happen with Becca, where she refuses the cocktail party.
Which I think you're right. That's a little bit of Rachel. Where Now that said, like the rest of the boys pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hesitated on Connor because what has Connor done so far? I guess maybe that's why we're cutting Connor because I don't really remember.
And then Lincoln because he's causing drama.
Yeah,
he's not a front runner.
He was never a front runner.
No.
Lincoln, excellent body. Early on, I thought he'd be a real starter. He just kind of proved to be a gimmick.
Yeah.
Boy, the whole time more or
not
less.
Much
we're
of
like
a personality.
Talking about the flat Earth and like starting fights with every villain he could get his hands on. Is Connor the kid who threw the photograph? Yes, I think he is.
I think he is.
So, we are going to get into our segment now. This week's segment is Ditch a Contestant.
And we've got 6 left. That's it.
Okay, we've got 6 left. I am laying down a ground rule.
Oh my gosh.
Mom and I would both pick Leo, so I'm exempting Leo from the men we can cut.
So that only leaves 5. So this is basically if you have 1 rose.
Yes. Okay. This leaves Colton, who is the boy with Tia. This is also a good recap of the boys.
Yeah,
so
the one who went out with Tia before the show.
Yes. We've got Jason.
Dracula.
Garrett, who is
Dad.
Minnesota dad. Blake, who is
Horseman.
Wills, who is Wills.
Fashion.
Very sweet. Fashionista best friend.
Yes. So if I had to cut, since I can't do Leo, let's just say I need to cut one guy that I'm not going to fantasy suites with.
Yes. Not even fantasy suites. We're not even close to there. We're going to...
Oh, hometowns.
No, normal date next time, then hometowns. There's still too many boys. Hometowns is 4, fantasy suites is 3.
Okay, so if I had to pick...
Just cutting 2 men next week then, I guess.
Oh man, this is really hard.
Is it?
Tough. Yeah, I think so.
Non-starter for me. Bye, Blake. See you. Take your horse friend and leave. Okay.
Really? Why would you cut Blake?
Oh, why wouldn't I cut Blake? I don't know.
Why would you cut Blake?
Okay, Blake is... Maybe I'm being mean to him. Because Blake is okay. I really do think he's fine.
I think he's a nice guy.
Counterpoint, when I thought of the 6 men in my head, I did forget that he existed. I don't know. It's just that, like, okay, it's less so much that I dislike Blake as much as it is that I think the other boys are all pretty okay. If it weren't Blake, it would be Colton for me, because Jason shined this episode. I really do think he's kind of funny and cute. Garrett is going to win the show, The Bachelorette. Wills, I like Wills a lot. I think he's super duper sweet.
Yeah.
Colton only ekes out Blake because I think he's attractive.
Yeah, and I think
that's why he's a winner for me.
A lot.
Yeah.
But she likes Blake too.
No, okay. I'm saying who would you cut? I'm not saying who you think she's gonna cut.
Okay.
Are we doing who do you think she's gonna cut though? Who do I think she's gonna cut? I would have to go Colton or Wills. I think she might cut Colton or Wills soon.
I think so too.
Because God, I really like Wills, but
who would I cut? No, so you remember my dilemma when we had to pick, like, if I were to marry one of the guys on this season, like, who would I marry?
Yes.
I had a tough time with that one because I don't find that any contestant, like,
stands out
sparks
as much
and
to you.
Shines. Like, I don't think there's a shining one in this this season. I really don't. I mean, Garrett maybe, but, like, yeah, he shines, but he doesn't sparkle.
No, I see what you mean. Where, like, he is the hubby of the show.
Yeah, I mean, he's the safe hubby pick.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, he'll be a good husband, he'll be a good dad, but he doesn't really shine for me.
Yeah,
he doesn't sparkle.
That's kind of fair, I guess.
If I had to cut someone remaining, Colton, Jason, Garrett, Blake, Wills, that is hard. I would either have to say Blake or Wills.
For who you'd cut?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now,
Blake,
I think if I said Blake, the only reason I would cut Blake is because I don't think he's that good looking.
Yeah, fair.
And
okay, we've talked about this before. This is all personal preference.
It's all personal preference.
Is not
it
a
has
reflection.
Nothing to do with who they are as people. It has nothing to do.
And not to mention, this is in the face of, like, Adonis bodies like Lincoln has. This is not in, like,
it's
the
not
pool
even
of other
that. I think it's just the fact that,
Tinder
like,
contestants.
Yeah,
around
I think it's
the
just
world.
more like your own personal preference.
Yeah, no, totally.
I think that Wills would be a second for me to cut. Just let me just explain this to you. Wills is a very attractive man.
Yeah.
He dresses really, really well.
Uh-huh.
I just look at Wills as more of, like, my best friend.
Yeah, no, we were saying this during
For me, I just feel like Wills would be an awesome guy if I was just crushed by my boyfriend and I needed to cry on a shoulder.
Yeah.
That would be Wills.
I don't know. I feel like I do agree with you on one hand, but on the other hand, whenever, like, Wills is on a date with her, I feel like he'd be a really, really comfortable, nice person to date. He'd make you feel really special.
But, like, husband, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Okay, we've both said our piece. Question. Why does Colton stand out to you, though?
I think Colton's good looking, but I also think Colton has a higher purpose. Like, he runs a charity called for cystic fibrosis.
Oh, yeah.
I think that he has a good head on his shoulders in the sense of, like, I think he lives in service to others, and that's very attractive to me.
That's good. Yeah. He seems like a good dude. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
My mom, by the way, is married to the Pope. Just so you know.
Pope can't get married.
not publicly. My mom is secretly married to the Pope. Okay, so hey, a little follow-up question. This isn't an official segment, but who's the batch gonna be? Because we mentioned this first episode. For those of you that aren't aware, the Bachelor for next season is picked from usually this season's dating pool, sometimes another past season's dating pool.
Okay, if she does not marry Jason.
Oh, Jason's
Jason?
Jason's good. Jason's been getting the Bachelor edit
Or
a little
Colton.
bit. Colton? Colton?
I think so.
I don't think so.
He's really good looking.
Okay, yes, camera time. He has not been getting the edit of, because usually they try to gussy up the Bachelor a little bit. We got this very much with Becca. Well, okay, obviously Becca, but I'm trying to think of other people's seasons. We didn't get it with Ari because Ari's from a past season.
Hey, I've got a question for you. Have they ever had an African-American male Bachelor?
Well, no. Rachel was the first black batch.
Will's might be the next.
That'd be rad. I'd be so behind that.
I think Will's might be mixed though, but
no, I don't think that matters.
I mean, he's like half African American.
Yeah. It's great.
I think if they want diversity on the show, I think they'll pick Will's. And if not, you know who they're gonna pick?
Who?
You know who they're gonna pick, and I would love it if they picked
This is
him.
what I was gonna ask.
Eric from Rachel's season.
Oh, frick! Are you kidding me?
I want ABC Bachelor, pick Eric from Rachel's season.
I'd destroy the no, in a good way. I love Eric.
I want him to be the Bachelor. Okay, so
I'd run circles into the ground.
Eric is the African-American man from Baltimore who was one of the finalists on Rachel's season. He did not start off strong.
No, he started off really weak, in fact. I was going to cut him off the show.
I was in love with him
because he had this really cool character arc where, like, in the middle of the season, he was really insecure and uncertain of himself.
Oh my gosh.
Then by the end, he, like, gained so much self-confidence, and he left the show saying, like, hey, you know what? That's okay. It was Rachel's decision. I'm behind it. Even though he was, like, really nervous towards the beginning.
Oh my gosh. He would be an amazing Bachelor.
Absolutely.
I mean, he would blow all these guys out of the water. Like,
for sure.
Meaning, like, he would be my number one pick.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
He'd be a really interesting Bachelor, too, I feel like.
And he's handsome. He's cute. He's
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, yeah.
He would be really good.
I disagree with you. I do not think Will's would be a Bachelor just because I feel like he's too interesting. You can't have a Bachelor that's too interesting.
You have to have him being, like, hot and fun.
Yeah.
Hot and fun.
What's, like, the only counter to that is Rachel, but like I said, they're normally, like, very normie people who the contestants are crazy.
Pick... Okay,
alternate
if you
universe.
have influence on ABC, pick Eric.
Yeah. Alternate universe where the villain gets to be the Bachelor and Jordan is the Batch. What about that, huh? Mom would lose her mind because Mom does actually love Jordan.
I love Jordan, but he would be a bad Bachelor.
Oh, he'd suck. Are you kidding me?
He would be a horrible Bachelor.
All of his camera time would be talking about himself and his modeling career.
No, he would be a terrible one.
Yes. He's going to be great on BIP, though.
He's going to be great on BIP.
I
don't think Dean, it's really funny because Dean's been he's gotten a lot of screen time and he was on BIP as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think he would even be picked to be Bachelor.
No, Dean never.
No.
Well, okay, and also The Bachelor never goes on BIP, I don't think. Was Ari on BIP?
I don't think so. Probably not.
I don't think so either, no.
Yeah.
Because, BIP is like a totally separate entity,
yeah.
I feel like. Anyways, I think that'll about do it for us.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Please subscribe to our podcast. Listen to us on iTunes. It's Michelle Fondin, but you can just Google us at On a Cloud Podcast.
Yep, open up the podcast app on your phone. It's purple. It's got a little person on it. And then just search On a Cloud Podcast. You can download us. You can stream us while you're walking to work, while you're on the bus.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that.
Please share with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
We love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.